The following program was recorded earlier for presentation at this time. The subject is an interview with James Brown and recruiting for the Oklahoma City Police Department. The man with the questions, Tom Daniels.
Very pleasant good day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Subject Is. You know, it's a pleasure for me to share with you an interview that I did a few days ago with a very important person. It's a person that's been important to me, maybe to you, to a lot of people. Of course, I'm talking about singer, entertainer, businessman James Brown, who was in Oklahoma City recently. Here's that interview in part.
Brother James, you just finished putting on a super show here. Very glad to see you back in town. Of course, we go back a long way, and I'm glad to see you personally. Welcome to the city once again.
Thank you very, very much. From a young man who I feel just as close to as my own son, and a fellow human being who I'm very proud of, who proves that it can be done. It was Soul Brother #1 in those days, and it was Soul Brother Young. That was the name I gave you, right?
You gave me that name about 16 years ago. Brother Ben Tipton, who was a city councilman now in Oklahoma City, who was a disc jockey then, introduced us, and you called me Soul Brother Young. I was about 16 years old.
Great. Let me say one thing. When you're talking about Councilman Ben Tipton, you really strike a nerve with me because he was one of the pioneers. He did a lot for this country, you know, because he went out there when it wasn't the most popular thing to be. And even at that time, he was an announcer, but he had to be a disc jockey. And I'm sure everybody understands that, what I'm saying. And he is somebody we should look up to. He pioneered this town a lot for a lot of people, and I think the whole city and the whole state of Oklahoma love him, and our whole country. But I'm sure Oklahoma City can be very proud of him because of the fact that he opened so many doors that weren't closed for what drastic or what normal reason we would think they were closed. They were closed because people just didn't know any better. And I think we're very proud to see what he is now, and hopefully one day he'll go as far as a governor, or president, or what have you. And we couldn't find a finer fella, and we certainly endorse you because we know that you're the same way.
Thank you, sir. You know, you've been in and out of the city doing shows for years, for as long as I can remember. Obviously, I'm very pleased and very proud to talk to you. What have you been doing lately? What have you been doing in the last 2.5 years?
Last 2.5 years, I pioneered again. I'm sure Councilman Tipton and yourself and young brother Fred back there can understand that. I went into probably the biggest media in the world, probably the one thing in the world that probably controls 80% of the people is television. I pioneered and spent over $800,000 out of my pocket. Didn't get a chance to finish formally, get a formal education, but I got a doctor's degree in the street. And I wanted to be able to speak the way I speak, you know, not cross every T and dot every I, which I couldn't do it if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. But I know that everybody out there understand ain't. Few people understand anti-disestablishmentarianism. And I shot it my way, you know, like Sinatra, Paul Anka, good friends of mine. I did it my way. And it was very successful because in most of the cities we beat the late night programming. Some of the biggest people in the business. And I'm tied with one of the top people in the country right now in Memphis. If I can call his name, I guess it's okay.
Sure, yes.
Beretta, you know. Beretta's a personal friend of mine. Yeah, we very close, and he has somewhat of a struggle the same way, having to prove his way, which is very important. But the good thing about this country, you can prove your way, and that's what we try to do. But anyway, I spent over $800,000, and now the government come in and gave me a grant that's going to enable me to resume my shooting in California. I'll be shooting from the same place that Lawrence Welch shoot from.
All right, now I'm aware of the show. It's Future Shock. Let's talk to the people about it. Tell them about the show and your conception of it and why you wanted to do it.
Well, number one, I want to do it because there are a lot of people that don't get a chance to be a part of television. for whatever reason. A lot of them not, the television field are not professional enough. Television don't lend itself to certain things in the country, certain things in the world. They have a basic guidelines, a set of guidelines, and I'm sure you understand that. We were limited. We had 4 cameras, but I would like to have 8 cameras, you know, because the more cameras, the more you get. You know? Right, Mr. Fred?
Well, you know, I've seen your show in Atlanta and various other cities I've been in, and I think it's an exciting show. A lot of production goes into it. I guess a lot of hard work on your part goes into it also, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a undying effort that we put in it because of the fact that we want the normal person walking the street to be able to be a part of television.
That's a beautiful thing, Brother James. You know, I've seen you. I first saw you when I was 14 years old. I was underage. I really snuck in. I think that's correct English. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I saw you. And tonight I saw a show, and you worked as hard as you did then. How do you keep it up?
Well, I keep it up because of you. I say you. I mean you. As a people who believe in me. I keep it up because I can go from the sanitation worker to the president. Like the president we got now, President Carter, we've known each other around 15 years. We was on first name basis till he became president, and naturally you should respect the president. But it was James and Jimmy for 15 years, you know. And we worked on a lot of programs and campaign. I even helped him campaign. Georgia loved Jimmy Carter. We did a lot of work together. And hey, I can just keep talking about a million things. Ask me a lot of questions because I get off on one subject and I'm ready to come back. Just shoot a lot of things at me.
No, it's fine. I'd like to know about your relationship with Jimmy Carter, President Carter.
It's not so political. It was more of a one-to-one. You don't really have time now with all the things that are against him. As a president, not him personally, as a president. This is a very crucial and critical times with all of the strikes. The coal strike is probably one of the most crucial things that could happen to this country. The oil, which we never was able to overcome that energy problem. We never got past telling kids where to go to school.
You think he's doing a good job as president?
I think he's doing as much as any one man can do today. There is no one man can solve these problems.
Where do you see blacks and other minorities going to in terms of equal opportunity? Do you think our movement peaked out, or the movement peaked out with the assassination of Dr. King, as many people do?
It peaked out because there's one word that's been spoken by a good friend of mine before he became president, and I hope it's followed in every respect. It won't be maximized as quick as fast as we would like to, but what made the movement come to an end was words such as human rights.
Would you expound on that?
Human rights. Once you get to that point, there's no room for nothing else.
I've seen many, many shows on television where they're always giving out awards. And I know personally through my days as a disc jockey that you probably sold more 45s than almost any entertainer alive. Why is it that you're not featured?
Because I'm independent, not because I'm black. Because I'm independent. Senator Humphrey told me about 3 months before he passed, he said, James, there's no place in the world today for an independent. And I hope you understand that out there. You must be a part of an organization. I think this is one of the problems with people in poor income areas, the ghetto, whether it's white, black, blue, green, red, yellow, purple, or orange. They must stick together. And if they don't stick together, leaders always get assassinated, and it's over. So it's about organization. So I was independent, and that's my problem. But Billboard just did a survey, and I came up 4th all time over everybody. for singles, because 40 albums weren't selling in those days like they are today. Today it's an album world. And I better put the plug in for my new album coming out.
Go ahead.
Called James Brown Jam 1980s. A Jam James Brown 1980s. It's probably going to be the biggest thing because of the time. It won't be no better than the things I've done, because they were good at that time. And the equipment was different at that time. You know the sound, the quality will be better today. But it don't have to be no more meaningful than Lost Someone, Please, Please, Try Me, Black and Proud, Payback, Prisoner of Love, Papa's Bag. But it'll go farther, because today you don't sell records, you market them.
You have several ventures, including Future Shock. How do you find time to keep it all together?
I can't keep it all together. I'm glad you asked that, because I'll probably say something to you. What happened to a good friend, man I respect, who probably made a contribution to this world that would never be none no greater than Shaft, Mr. Isaac Hayes. There's not enough people around, and when you try to give people who don't have education that chance, you'll suffer. I have three radio stations. I'm a big landowner, a property owner in the world, not just in the United States, out of the country. And I publish almost all the songs I've ever sung in my life. I probably own more publishing rights than any individual in the business. Artists, anyway. I own every song I sing. I own them, except for the ones that I did rearrangements on, like maybe a B. Willard or something like that, Prisoner of Love. But I own all my copyrights. And that's not a white, black, blue, green. I was just smart enough to know how to own them, because most of the artists regardless of their color, or their race or their religion, they don't own their material. I own mine. But I can't keep up with all my stuff. And I will probably lose some of my stuff because of the fact that there's not enough people around. And the people that I gave jobs to, I gave them jobs because I know they needed them, and I know they would have never got them if I hadn't gave them to them. Or somebody like myself or Mr. Isaac Hayes. There are a lot of other people. I'm naming the people basically come from the ghetto. Could be a Santana, could be Jose Feliciano, anybody, what have you. Somebody from Wounded Knee. But it's that type of thing. We must look out for each other because we understand the problem, and we understand the person, and we understand the situation. And that costs dollars. Councilman Tipton said something to me, and because I've been saying it probably, I meant the same thing, but I've been saying it one way, and people can always have a sharper point of view. I said, it cost me a lot to teach. He said, no, it didn't. He said, you paid a lot to teach because you wanted them to know. And he was right. I paid a lot, and I'll do it again, because I did it for you out there. Anytime you can come from a shoe shine boy to one of the most popular and influential men in the world and don't have a formal education, you owe the people something back. And I'll always be paying them.
Brother James, where are you going from here?
I'm going where, I just finished a movie, which I own 50% of. He'll be one of the only worldwide movies. You wouldn't believe that all the big artists in the world can't put out a worldwide movie because they're either white, they're Catholic, they're Protestant, or they may be Islam, or whatever. And everything probably won't be as powerful every place. But I'm fortunate enough to have a movie that's going to go out and be one of the biggest movies in the world, because I am world. And one thing about James Brown, it's like Coca-Cola. They spell it and say it the same way in every language.
Pure dynamite. You've told me often that Oklahoma City is one of your favorite cities. Anything particular you'd like to say in closing to some of the folks in Oklahoma City?
What I like to say to Oklahoma City, I've seen a lot of changes today. I never knew I was so lost when I looked for the Canton Hotel and Little Page and places like that I used to live. I had a lot of values there, and I loved those people in those places. And I had a chance to see a lot of my old friends, Councilman Tipton, I'm going to call her name, Startha Bell, yourself, and that other young brothers. And if I don't call his name, I'm gonna have a problem, you know. But you know I love him. And the young brother, and man over there, he come in just now. He tried to give me all them shirts and things. Somebody else he tried to give me a long time ago too. I don't know. But he's beautiful though. I love him, and sister there, young brother, and yourself. But I saw Oklahoma give people chances, like I say, like you. Councilman Tipton gave me chances and opportunity. And don't let places like Bryant Center go down. Build them back up. Because they're needed. Because I'm going to look for Bryant Center tomorrow. You know why?
Why?
Because that's part of Oklahoma, part of Oklahoma City. It's part of the people, and it's part of me. I'd like to say to you out there, live as long as you can and die when you can't help it. I'd like to see you live 200 years, and I live 200 years minus 1 day. So I never know beautiful people like you passed away.
Brother James Brown, thank you, sir.
I love you.
Mr. James Brown, our thanks to photographer Fred Plummer, who shot that piece and also edited it. The subject continues in just a moment.
Reaching for the dream that spells tomorrow. Tomorrow. Well, another generation's coming on. I see America working harder every day to educate her people to live a better way. Wouldn't you like to feel another shoulder at the wheel? If you help me join the line, you pull your weight and I'll pull mine.
The United Negro College Fund has helped blacks fulfill their potential in walks of life where they couldn't walk before, and your contributions have made theirs possible.
We want to give our best, please understand. Please understand. We're not asking for a handout, just a hand. I see America working harder.
No one can do it alone. Please give to the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
And thank you for joining us on the second segment of The Subject Is. As you can see by at least one uniform, you know that we have police officers on the show for this segment, but actually we have 2 police officers and 1 civilian employee with the police department.
Now we have approximately 36 positions at the police department that we're trying to fill for our next school that's scheduled to start May 1. We're having problems getting people to apply. Black, white, Spanish, Indian. We're just not getting hardly anyone to apply the process for these jobs. And that's the main reason we contacted you and wanted to do this show, was to talk about some of the problems that we're having and how our system is set up.
You know, I'm really surprised because, you know, while I'm sure not everybody would like to rush out and be a policeman, it's just rather surprising to me that that you don't have a waiting list, or you don't have at least people that you can choose from. What do you see as the main problem, George?
Well, of course, you know, we know of one of the problems, and that is our salary, the starting salary. But I think, you know, people are not realizing that the police department does not only offer a job, it offers a career. And of course, the money, the starting salary, it's a problem that possibly they see like the first thing.
What is the starting salary while we're on that?
Right now,
the starting salary is $717.50 a month. However, after being in the force for 6 months, it goes to $767.50. And at the end of a year, 12 months in the force, it's $934.50 a month.
Well, you know, I guess that you're right. That's probably not too much to make you want to put your life on the line. I don't think I